lot of the questions that people have been asking me within the comments. I decided to consolidate all of that information into a single video to make it easier for you to find the information you're looking for. Please forgive me if I miss anything. If I do, feel free to drop it in the comments. And if it's something worth discussing in more detail, I can make a video about it at a later date. So, you've just gotten your CDL, and you're getting ready to start the PSD phase. Now what? Well, I suggest that you get yourself some gear. The first thing that I suggest that you get is loose-fitting active clothing. It is very important that you dress comfortably. And the reason why is because there are going to be times that you're going to be sitting in the truck for long periods of time, whether it's in the passenger seat, whether it's in the driver's seat, or maybe in the back. But you want to be comfortable at all times. If it's summertime, this stuff breathes really well. If it's wintertime, you can layer up and you can throw thermals on underneath. Speaking of winter, I would suggest that you get something like what I used. I purchased a Refrigegear -60-degree reflective jacket. I also purchased their hoodie as well, but I really didn't necessarily have to wear the hoodie underneath of the jacket. That jacket works really well. So well to the point to where there were times that I was sweating underneath of it and all I had on was a t-shirt and the jacket. Well, I technically had the jacket and the hoodie on, but you get what I'm saying. It's really good for the winter. Now, the hoodie is technically designed for being in cold as well, not extreme colds, but it's thick enough that it'll keep you warm as the weather starts to cool down. Sorry, I'm just making sure that this gentleman don't hit my truck. So, besides the gear that you're going to be wearing, I would also suggest that you get yourself a flashlight. You may be doing your training at nighttime. You may ask your trainer if they can stay later so that way you can continue to learn and practice. Or maybe there's a truck outside of the campus, Campus Inn hotel, and you decide that, hey, I want to do a pre-trip on this truck and it's getting late and now you can't really see the truck. Well, if you got yourself a flashlight, boom, you'll be able to see just fine. I also purchased a headlamp. I liked using this thing a lot because it allowed me to be hands-free. And these things are useful, like I said, whether you're in PSD or you're in TNT or you've already upgraded. This in particular, very bright. It also has red light on it. It has a flashing red light, so you can make yourself even more visible when you're walking around, say for example, a 01 or a 90s yard, or even a truck stop. It has a green light on it as well. I don't really use the green light. I tend to use the red one and the standard flashlight on it, but it works out really well for me. I like it. They're both Energizer. Everything I mentioned as far as the gear that I have, I will drop links within the description of the video. I also suggest that you purchase a teacher's pointer. A teacher's pointer is just a nifty little tool that you can just you can pull out and you can point at components of the truck and the trailer while you're doing your pre-trip and you're learning your pre-trip. It keeps you from getting extremely filthy. If there was one thing that I was trying not to do when I first got my gear and my clothes, I was trying not to get my stuff covered in oil, which I did because I didn't have the teacher's pointer that I ordered after the fact. Once I got it, it kept me from having to dig all the way in the engine and all underneath the trailer to be able to point out all the different components of the tractor trailer. I actually used it when I did my test, my pre-trip for my test, and they were perfectly fine with it because it still showed them I knew exactly what I was referring to. So that's what I would suggest when it comes to PSD. Compensation, you are paid $250 during the PSD phase. That is loaded to your ComData card. You can transfer that money from ComData over to your bank account if you have one. Now, let's move into the TNT phase. TNT, you're going to need the gear that I just mentioned, but there's something more important that you're going to need is food. Here's the thing with food. It is your responsibility to feed yourself. It is not the trainer's responsibility to feed you. It is yours. You may be lucky enough to have a trainer who will share or who will buy you things, but they are not obligated to do so. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be on the truck and be expecting them to feed you and like wondering, hey, why didn't you get me something to eat yet? That's not going to happen. And I know you would think that this is really simple and everyone should know this, but that's not true. Some people literally will sit on the truck and wait for their trainer to buy them food. I know this because I've heard stories. So, food. Make sure that you have food. Let's talk about hygiene. When it comes to showers, everybody has their own personal preference on how often they want to shower. Before you get on your trainer's truck, your trainer is going to call you and speak with you before they even pick you up. Tell them what your needs are. If you need to shower daily, let them know you need to shower daily. Prime encourages the trainers to make sure that the trainees are able to shower as needed. So if you shower every single day and you want to shower every single day while you're out on the road, they need to know that. Y'all need to work together and make it happen. Now, granted, you may be under some sort of time constraints, but truth be told, you're going to be stopping pretty much daily for rest in order to get back the other 3 hours that's sitting on your 11 clock. So if you're going to be sitting for 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes you can run and go take a shower. So work that out with the trainer before you get on the truck. Let them know what you need. Compensation during the TNT phase is $900 before taxes. Depending upon what your state is, each state has different tax percentages. So on average, I would say if you're not electing for the benefits, you're looking at around about maybe $650, something like that after taxes. It depends on your unique situation if you've elected for benefits. Also, it depends on if you've been going to the terminal and swiping your card on a bunch of food. Keep that in mind. A lot of people go to the terminal cafeteria and they spend a lot of money on food, not thinking about it because it's not cash. You're not giving away anything, so they just swipe. A lot of people do that with credit cards too, but just saying. So we made sure we covered your food. We made sure we covered the gear that you're going to need, because the clothing, things like that, you're also going to need in TNT as well as the PSD. So something else I would suggest is, let's kind of go back to the clothing. Comfortable shoes, but also a pair of boots. You want the boots so when you're in like muddy and really dirty and filthy situations that you can keep in the side of the truck. That way you're not putting them in the truck. That is really important, at least for me and my trainer. We both like to keep our truck clean. We were always keeping our truck clean and cleaning up behind one another and helping out each other. Like we definitely worked as a very cohesive unit. But you want to do that because that way you don't want to be tracking all that stuff into the truck. And then you want the comfortable sneakers. I would suggest low tops, that way you can just slip them on and off and they're easy to get on, easy to kick off. And then I would also suggest a pair of water resistant flip-flops or sandals or some sort of slippers that you can wear in the shower. I'm not putting my bare feet on that floor where everybody and their mama been in there, and I don't know what they've been doing in that bathroom. I know they clean it, but that's my own personal hygiene. Please, within TNT, be courteous and respectful of other people's space. Keep in mind, that truck is essentially the home of your trainer. So don't get in the truck and disrespect your trainer's home. That's how I'm going to refer to it. You wouldn't want anyone to come in your home and treat your home like trash and throw things everywhere and treat you like trash in your home. Be respectful. Now, granted, don't accept disrespect as well, but there's a professional way that you can do that. You don't have to be nasty about it or anything like that. I mean, that's what your fleet manager's for. Truth be told, if you have any sort of confrontation or any issues, you can try to work it out amongst yourselves. But if you can't come to a resolution, you can send a message over to your fleet manager, give your fleet manager a call. If you send a message and your fleet manager responds, your trainer will see that, just so you know. So if it's that important, give your fleet manager a call and just discuss with them the issues that you're having. And your fleet manager may decide to route you back to the terminal and get you on a different truck. I would suggest to try and stay on the truck that you're on, work it out, and take your time and get through the whole process. But sometimes it happens. I mean, take me, for example. I was training with somebody I knew, and it just ended up not working out the first week. Ended up with a different trainer. And then I was blessed enough that the trainer that I got set up with, he and I, we clicked. And we got along. I learned a lot. We had a great time in the process, and it was a smooth experience. Now, in a previous video, one of the things that I talked about was how I was keeping track of my miles. During the TNT phase, it is very important that you keep track of your miles. And you want to keep track of the dispatched miles, which means in your application, in your Prime app, when you see the loads, it will tell you the total miles for the load, empty and loaded. That whole total miles is what you're going to be calculating to reach your 30,000 miles that you're required to get during the TNT phase. I had an Excel sheet, which I'll also put that link in this description, so that way you have it here as well as that other video when I initially was talking about it. I have an Excel sheet template where it calculates all the mileage that you run and totals it out, and also has some other sections where if you wanted to try and get an average estimation of how long it would take you to get somewhere, you can drop the mileage in it and it'll tell you how long it'll take to drive there. So I found that very nifty. It was just something that I did personally, but like I said, it's very important that you keep track of your own miles. Once you reach your 30,000 miles, and it's not in the middle of going to an 01 or going to a 90, your miles are complete once you complete the load that finishes up. So you might end up being 1,000, 500, 200 miles over the 30,000 that is required of you. But when that load is complete, that completes your miles. What you want to do at that moment, the moment that load is complete, reach out to your fleet manager. Tell your fleet manager that you've completed your miles. Tell them that you would like to upgrade. They will let you know when they can get you in to the terminal to upgrade. Now, before I go to the next topic of upgrading, I want to talk about something else with TNT, because everyone keeps asking how long does it take for TNT. In reality, if you and your training are running around the clock, you can have your TNT phase done in 6 total weeks. Some people, it ends up being 7. The reason why is because their trainers may take some home time. There may be speed constraints as far as how fast they will allow you to drive. Keep in mind, it is their truck. You have to respect their rules. If they want you to drive 58 at all times, drive 58 at all times. Yes, is it frustrating? Sure. However, it is safe. Let's just be honest. And safety is the most important thing. Mine likes to say, safety is our highest calling. So, yeah, it is what it is. Once you're done with your training, you don't have to abide by that. You can drive however fast you want. Just be safe. Now, let's go back to the upgrade topic. So you've let your fleet manager know that you want to upgrade. They tell you when they can get you into the terminal. Now, my situation, my fleet manager was not certain when he was going to be able to get me into the terminal to upgrade. So I chose to get off of the truck. I got off of the truck because I have alternative skills. So I have the capability of making money when I'm not in the truck. On top of it, honestly, if I wanted to, I was able to just Uber and do things like that, or DoorDash, and I was able to make compensation in less time, more than I was in TNT. Plus my miles were done. I had speed constraints that was a little frustrating for me. I understood, I respected it, but I was tired of being in the truck because I had been in the truck for a long period of time, and I was going to be hopping back in the truck, and I don't plan on getting out for a while. So use this time wisely. I'm going to get off the truck. You have that option too. If you do so, you are not compensated because you are putting yourself in an unavailable status. If your trainer takes home time while you're in your TNT phase and you didn't request to be off, make sure you're communicating that to your fleet manager as well. I know I'm kind of jumping back to the TNT topic from upgrade, but that's also something that people have been asking too. Trainer says they want to take home time. Did you plan on taking any vacation time? No. Okay, tell your fleet manager that. So that way you are still in an available status to be compensated while your trainer is home. Now, going back to the upgrade again. They've let you know when they can get you into the terminal to upgrade. If you stay on the truck, they can route you that way, and then you can be dropped off by your trainer. If you have gone home, it is your responsibility to manage getting from your home to the terminal. I chose to take Greyhound. It was the cheapest. I was originally going to take my car, but then I was like, if I drive my car, I'm leaving my car in a whole nother state, and I'm all the way on the East Coast, which means in order to get my car, I have to take my truck to Springfield, take my car back home, and then go back to Springfield via Greyhound or something like that. No, I'm not doing all that. So I left my car in Piston, and I took a Greyhound, so that way when I do decide I want to take home time, I just go to the Piston terminal, leave my truck at Piston, and my car is right there. Heck, during the first load that I had, I just so happened to be going through Piston as my clock was ended, and I did my 10-hour rest at the terminal, which gave me the opportunity to get all the things that I needed to put in my truck, out of my car, the stuff that I needed out of the truck into the car. So it's your responsibility to get yourself to the terminal. All right, you're at the terminal, you're ready for upgrade. Now, when it comes to the classes, I can only speak about what is required for lease operator. I can't talk about anything else because I'm not anything else. I didn't do company, I'm not flatbed, I'm not tanker. So I don't know if there are some nuances there, which I'm sure there are because there are classes that I was talking to other people about that they were taking, and I'm like, what is this? I don't have to take that. Now, the classes that you're gonna have to take. First thing first is the safety class. The safety class is several hours. We started, I believe, like 7. We were done around about 11 o'clock. Yeah, I would say about 11 o'clock. And not only are you watching multiple safety videos, you're also going to do the simulator tests. Please, for the love of God, take your time, treat the simulator like the real truck. It is not a video game. I saw someone in my class roll the truck because he was going too fast. How do you go too fast in a simulator? It doesn't even make any sense. Lost control of the truck and rode the truck. Someone else was off in a ditch sliding on ice. Yeah. So the simulator, you have about 3 drives, and then you're also going to have to dock the trailer at a dock in the simulator. Once you do that, that completes the safety class. Have your lunch. You're going to end up going to the Plaza building later on. At the Plaza building, you'll have to do the hours of service class. The hours of service class discusses your logs and how to manage your time in doing your logs appropriately. They discuss personal conveyance and how you're supposed to actually use it and how you cannot use it. That's hours of service. Hours of service also runs into the tax class, which is like the abacus people, where they talk about taxes and things like that. Then, at the end of that, there's no more classes for that day. That's day 1. Day 2 is the slingshot class. The slingshot class discusses the settlements and how expenses and fees and service charges and things like that reflect on the settlement, what they are, what to look for, how often they are, fixed costs versus your non-fixed costs, fuel and things like that. So that's what that class is going to discuss. That's going to be a couple hours. when it comes to all the classes, do not be late. If you are late, they will turn you away and you will have to wait another day to do the class. Be on time. Personally, you should be early. That's me. I'm very punctual. So do not be late. Everyone keeps asking me about compensation. So before I talk about compensation, there's one last thing you do after you do your the slingshot class. Keep in mind, there are some computer-based training stuff that you're going to do with the safety class. A lot of this stuff you've already done it in the PSD phase, before you officially got approved to go to the pad. See, I told you I'd probably forget. I'd probably forget a couple of things, and I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but I just want to make sure I'm touching on everything. So, after you do your slingshot class, you're going to send an email. There's an email that they give you. This is what puts you on the driver wait list. When you send that email and they confirm that they have received it, that is what officially moves you from a B seat to an A seat. Now, let's go to compensation. You are still paid the guaranteed pay that you make during TNT while you're doing these classes, up until you have been moved from a B seat to an A seat. Once that is done, there is no more guaranteed compensation. You are not being paid anything. So now you're waiting for a truck. You're not being compensated, and you're waiting for a truck. Once you pick a truck, if that truck, say for example, is new, like my truck at the time that I picked it was not ready, and it had to get some work done. They had to install the APU. They had to install the super singles and take off the doubles. While that work is being done, I was not being paid for the first 2 days. So let's say I pick my truck on a Friday. Friday is not the first day. Saturday is the first day. Saturday, Sunday, that's day 2. Starting day 3, Monday, if the truck is still not ready, Success Leasing will compensate me with what is called layover pay for about $126 a day until the truck is ready. Once the truck is ready, I can do my inspection. They are going to give you a packet which has a bunch of things that you need to check. You're going to have this paperwork the moment you decide that this is the truck that you're going to take. You're going to run through these inspections, through the inspection, through everything that's on the list. You're going to take the truck over to the tractor shop. They're going to run their diagnostics tests and test a couple of things and make sure everything's fine. They're going to ask you, did you find anything that needed to be repaired? This is your time to tell them what you have found and everything that you've noted. And then once that process is done, you can then move on to going to leasing and signing the lease. You will let them know, you don't have to physically go over there. You can just pick up the phone and call them and let them know that the inspection is done. And they'll send you the lease. The lease is going to reflect on your Prime app. The Prime app is going to prompt you in the very beginning to create a signature and create an initial. So that way, as you're reading through the contract, you can double tap the signature line, double tap the initial line to sign and initial each page that requires you to do so. In the contract, there is a clause that states, for example, my truck, that once I complete the lease or I've completed 2 years, I have the option to purchase. I've also had a discussion with people within Success Leasing at the Piston Terminal, and they are and they aren't doing lease purchase. What it is that when you have the option to purchase the truck, you have to get outside financing. So it looks like they used to do things internally as far as financing wise. They're not doing that anymore. But if you have outside financing and you've had a new truck for 2 years, 3 years, you have the option to purchase that truck, but you have to get outside financing, and they will sell the truck to you at fair market value. Now, you've signed your lease. Once you've signed your lease, you need to go to driver lineup. Driver lineup is going to give you some things that you may need. You may potentially need to do for example, they hit me with a random drug test. All right, so that was fine. I don't really do anything, so I was good to go. But driver lineup's going to take care of getting you your first load and telling you where you're going to go. You're also going to need to go talk to permits. Permits is where you get your pre-pass, your easy pass, your best pass, your folder that has your temporary license plate and all that information in it, especially if you have a new truck. They give you a paper temporary license plate, and then they'll send you a message to let you know that the license plate is ready. Once that's all done, it's just a matter of time. Get that load, get rolling. Anyways, I hope this video helped you. I tried to talk about as many topics as I possibly could about the entire process. I might have missed some things, I might not have, but it's been fun. I'll catch up with you all later. I'm getting ready to shower, and then I'm going to crash, and I'm about 11 hours out from my 90, and my 90 delivery is not due until Monday morning, so I got time. But I'll catch y'all later. Stay safe. Peace.